Hello, it is I. Welcome to another episode of Have a Good One. Still haven't decided whether I'm going to use the acronym or the full name, so we're going to be doing a little bit of inconsistency here, so that ought to be a fun run for us, won't it? But anyway, hello, welcome to another episode, and you probably have figured out from the this title of this episode that we're going to be talking about a little band called Fall Out Boy. Considering last season I was looking at Panic at the Disco, it made sense to start talking about Fall Out Boy. Now, for those who don't know about the connection, Panic at the Disco kind of sort of got started by Fall Out Boy. At the very least, got started like I'll bring this up later, but you can see some similarities between the two bands, at the very least, starting out. But anyway, so Fall Out Boy, I'm reading the Wikipedia article here, is an American rock band formed in Wilmette, Illinois, a suburb of Chicago in 2001. The band consists of lead vocalist and rhythm guitarist Patrick Stump, bassist Pete Wentz, lead guitarist Joe Troman, and drummer Andy Hurley. The band originated from Chicago's hardcore punk scene, with which all members were involved at some point. Now I'd say probably some of the most well-known songs that they've done. Oh, actually, let's have a look at some of their accolades. Actually, you might know them from some songs like My Songs Know What You Did in the Dark or Light 'Em Up, Centuries, Thanks for the Memories, Immortals, which was featured in the soundtrack of Big Hero 6, if you remember that movie, and The Phoenix. So we're going to be looking at their very first album, which has none of those songs on it. It's brilliant. Yeah, so their first album is called Take This to Your Grave. And, so, when they were getting started out, a lot of the members were originally part of other bands of different genres. Wentz was part of a metalcore band. Stump was part of a grindcore band. And so they decided to make a punk rock band. Along with other stuff. Actually, funnily enough, there's a video on YouTube that's Brendan Urie from Panic at the Disco does drunk history of Fall Out Boy. It's quite entertaining, it's quite funny. I would recommend that. But today we're going to be looking at their very first album, Take This to Your Grave. Now, when I was first going through this album, there was not a single song title that I recognized. Because, yeah, it ain't. But anyway, Take This to Your Grave was released on the 6th of May, 2003. It goes for 39 minutes, and there are 13 songs in total if we're counting all of the bonus tracks. Which is basically like there's one additional song which is a cover, and then a dance remix of one of the other songs in the album. This song, or this album, rather, let's see, it received gold in the United Kingdom and the United States, and it peaked, the highest peak position that it had gotten was 10th on the US catalog albums. So it was good. It was a very good first album, but compared to some of their later albums, it's they've had more success later on, which is good. That's always a good thing. So yeah, the average song on this album is, well, I mean, they're pretty much average song length. The shortest song on this album is 2 minutes and 21 seconds, and the longest is 4 minutes 27 seconds. So yeah, not too unusual song lengths. But anyway, let's get right into it. So, for those of you who did not listen to my Panic at the Disco stuff, or reviews, I guess you could say, I'm just going to explain how I grade songs. So, pretty much, if I give the song anywhere between a 6.5 and a 10 out of 10, it means that I really like the song, and I can see myself going out of my way to listen to it again. If I give the song a score between 4 to 6 out of 10, it means that I think that the song is kind of meh, or just kind of like okay. Like it's, like I wouldn't go out of my way to listen to it, but if it just showed up on the radio, or on shuffle or something like that, I probably wouldn't skip it. I'd probably rather listen to it. And if I give the song anywhere between a 3.5 or lower, it means that I do not like the song, and even if it showed up randomly on the radio or on shuffle, I would just skip it or turn it off rather than listen to it again. So yeah, that's kind of how I go about doing this. Also, this song has a single bonus song with the director's cut, song called Roxanne. I mean, technically there's two, but the second one's just a dance remix of an already existing one. I don't know if you guys care about this dance remix that much. I'll talk about it, if you do, I'll talk about it at a later time, but as it stands, I don't think I really need to cover it. So, let's get into the very first song of the album. Tell that Mick he just made my list of things to do today. Okay, first song, really long title, definitely an emo album, you can tell. Yeah, Fall Out Boy is kind of like a quintessential emo band. Anyway, so we get some techno beeps to start off with, followed by an explosive guitar chord out of nowhere. We get some guitars just blasting out of nowhere. It's a very sudden lot of noise, like out of nowhere. It really sounds like a typical 2000s punk song. Its energy is quite nice. We get this choke on your words. One of the lyrics is choke on those words. Oofed. The chorus doesn't really change anything up much. It sounds the same as the verses. It actually, like the sound kind of reminds me of a sped up version of Teenage Dirtbag, actually. Another one of the lyrics, when you catch on fire, I wouldn't piss to put you out. Just, wow. He hates this person, whoever they are. The guitar solo that comes later, towards the bridge, is pretty energetic, but nothing about it really stands out to me. It just seems kind of generic. The outro is pretty neat, and it showcases that the lead singer, Patrick Stump, has got a very natural punk singing voice. Like, his belts didn't sound as forced as they did with, say, early era Brendan Urie. I know that I criticized Brendan quite a bit, especially in his first album, about that. Also, I just realized, like, from listening to this song, I realized just how few Panic songs actually have proper outros. I kind of got used to songs just ending suddenly. This song actually has an outro, which I gotta get used to again, I guess. So, this song is about a guy's ex giving up on a relationship and moving on to another guy, and he's not really taking it too well. as you could tell by some of the lyrics I'd mentioned, saying that he'd rather she die and all of that stuff. It seems a lot of punk and emo songs kind of have that topic in mind. So, I am going to give this song, Tell That Mick He Just Made My List of Things to Do Today, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. It's okay. It doesn't sound bad, but it just sounds so generic. I feel like this is just a stereotype of punk or emo music in general, and I think I'll forget how it goes rather quickly, except for the fact that I remember it as sounding like a sped up teenage dirtbag. So yeah, Tell That Mick He Just Made My List of Things to Do Today a 5 out of 10. I hope the other songs do not have such long titles. Anyway, next up, Dead on Arrival. Okay, that's a pretty normal sounding one. Anyway, we get a strong guitar opening, but beware of jump scare. It sounds rather happy compared to the last song, which still sounded rather happy, but like, I guess the lyrics were quite strong because it was very clear that, you know, the singer hates that person. Here it sounds happier. But I guess from an instrumental standpoint, it sounds very similar to the last song. I got the same teenage dirtbag vibe during the chorus that doesn't change up the verses much. And I feel as though, you know, a lot of the time, when you have verses and choruses and that, you probably would want to make them sound kind of distinct just because, you know, the chorus is kind of like, it's kind of like the recurring motif. It keeps coming back in the song. I guess it's kind of, I don't know what actually caused the start of this whole chorus trend, but, you know, songs that kind of have recurring choruses has been a thing as age as that. My apologies, my English is not very good, and English is my first language. You would think that would be my best language. Feel like I'd probably be better speaking in binary, or gibberish, rather than English. Anyway, what was I talking about again? Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, the chorus, the whole chorus trend is, you know, far out, I full on forgot my train of thought for this. It's a tale as old as time, it's a trope as old as time. We always have choruses, and I feel as though having them sound distinct from the verses is kind of an important part. Point being, Dead on Arrival does not really sound like it changes up that much between the verses and the choruses. The verse is actually, listening to the second verse, it's ironically punchier than the chorus, but doesn't really maintain that energy throughout. It's very sporadic. I'm gonna guess that this song is the same general meaning behind it as the last one, just gathering from the lyrics. The bridge adds a little more variation, and the third chorus is actually different from the rest of the song. And to be honest, after listening to this song, I'm not sure how I feel about Patrick's voice in this. Like, it almost sounds like a parody of punk emo singers. Although, maybe he's the reason it became a stereotype in the first place, because Fall Out Boy was kind of a pioneer in this genre, at least as making it as mainstream as it is now. So maybe I'm just looking at this a bit too retrospectively. Maybe this was very unique at the time. Anyway, the song is about a girl who, this time, is emotionally draining. A real energy vampire, if you will. She was also a complacent yes man who would never say no to— wait, no, my bad. He was also a complacent yes man who would never say no to her. It sounds like a real match here. Energy vampire ex-doormat. This is him confronting her about how she just uses him and has only seen one side of him, hoping that she'll grow to like him. Buddy, I think you know you just need to cut your losses here. Anyway, I'm gonna give Dead on Arrival also a 5 out of 10. It's pretty much just as generic as the last song, sounding rather similar, and similarly, I doubt I'll remember this song. I wouldn't really say it's any better or worse than the previous song. There are some things that I think it does better, like kinda redoing the stuff, or like, I guess, having the third chorus sound a bit different, but maybe the fact that the song's kind of about a very similar thing, a toxic relationship, and the fact that it sounds, like, instrumentally it sounds very similar, maybe made me a little burnt out from, that general sound. So, I'm gonna give it the same score here. So 5 out of 10. Next up, Grand Theft Autumn / Where Is Your Boy? I like the title, or at the very least I like the Grand Theft Autumn title. It's quite clever. Although I don't know why they always do this thing where it's like the song has 2 titles. It's kind of as though they couldn't decide on which one sounded better, so we'll just go with that. Anyway, it seems pretty obvious which one makes more sense because the very first lyric to the song is, "Where is your boy?" Actually, apparently this is the first Fall Out Boy song to be picked up by Billboard, reaching number 84. That's pretty good. Anyway, we start off with some nice a cappella vocals. I like. A cappella's always, no, it isn't always a good thing. You can absolutely screw up a cappella, like, badly. This song doesn't do that, though. The a cappella vocals sound quite good there. Anyway, we then come into the guitar and drums, which honestly sounded very cacophonic at first. The verses sound a lot like the other songs, very similar. The chorus, we get the same vocals that we did in the beginning, a cappella, and to be honest, I think the chorus sounded better a cappella. I don't know, the instrumental just kind of loses something with it. I don't know. Or maybe the fact that you added in music to it just kind of made it worse. I don't know. But I just think the chorus sounded better a cappella. Then we get into verse 2, and Patrick goes belting. This time it actually sounds a little forced when he goes really high, which I didn't actually think he sounded forced in the previous 2 songs. Then we get to the chorus a second time, and that kind of just reaffirmed my suspicions that it did sound much better a cappella. The bridge pulls back a lot, and we get a pretty nice instrumental. The bridge has some good vocals as well. The final chorus doesn't really change things up at all. We get a decent final note to end it all off, so at least there's that. Anyway, this song is about a boy in a relationship that may be a little unfaithful. She doesn't notice this though. The narrator wants to be the one she needs, not her boyfriend who's being unfaithful. But anyway, also, the fact that the lyrics "Where is your boy" are included in the song kind of makes it obvious which title makes more sense, considering Grand Theft Autumn is never mentioned, but I still prefer Grand Theft Autumn as a title. Anyway, I give Grand Theft Autumn / Where Is Your Boy a 6 out of 10. It's better than the previous 2 songs, mostly because of the a cappella beginning and a little bit more variation throughout the song, so it doesn't just sound the same throughout. It's more memorable as well, but it still suffers the same problem as the others, that being that it sounds rather generic, as well as having very similar subject matters to the previous songs. So far, all of these songs have been about different toxic relationships, which is probably the most overdone subject matter in songs. Not to say that you can't ever have a song like that, but if that's all you ever write songs about in an album, you're gonna lose points for lacking originality because it seems like you can't actually make a song about anything else. But, considering some of the other songs that Fall Out Boy has written in the future, I know that they don't suffer that problem forever. It's just kind of a question of how long they do it for. I don't think it's for that long. To be honest, their second album, I haven't heard any songs from that one either, so I guess I'll just have to find out when I listen to it. Next up, we have Saturday. Lot of songs about Saturday, actually. Panic had a song about Saturday. Elton John's got a Saturday song. I'm sure plenty of other artists have Saturday songs. What is it with Saturday? No, wait, never mind. That's the party night that I never really related to because I usually work on Saturdays. Anyway, we get another immediate opening going straight in, full force. This song kind of sounds like a song that would play in a 2000s teen romance movie. We get into the chorus, which once again just kind of bleeds into the verses. At first I didn't even notice that we had gotten into the chorus. Verse 2 seemed like the lyrics seemed out of sync with the instrumental. I mean, like, I'm sure it was deliberate, but like, it didn't sound right. That almost, like, the reason why I'm saying I'm sure it was deliberate is because that is such like an amateur mistake to make. Having your lyrics be out of sync with the instrumentals. So, like, I'm sure something, like, there was an explanation for that, but, like, it just doesn't sound, like, it just sounds weird. It doesn't sound right. Anyway, the bridge pulls back again. Are we going to get another instrumental during the bridge? Actually, the instrumental didn't actually happen as long as I thought it would. Usually when it comes to rock songs, particularly punk and metal, when we get to the chorus, we get like a pretty long solo, or just instrumental in general. I was kind of surprised by how short this one lasted. Anyway, the bridge gives us some distorted backing vocals, which I actually wasn't expecting from Fall Out Boy. It seems a bit weird to include such brutal distortion with such happy, energetic instrumentals. And for the record, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about when I say distorted vocals, what I'm talking about is like basically when somebody sings, it can also be called unclean vocals. In fact, I think I actually, in my notes, I think I referred to it as unclean later on, but you might also know it as unclean vocals. Usually when someone's singing, you know, they're sounding like la 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 and all of that kind of stuff. But if they're using distortion to their voice, it's gonna sound a lot raspier. So it'll sound more like you hear it a lot in metal. You know the ones that I'm talking about, when it's like, you have like somebody growling and they're just like, oh, and all of that kind of stuff. That's what I mean when I say that. Anyway, we also get some nice falsetto at the end. Nice, seems rather breathy, but still, nice to be seeing some variation in the songs. Anyway, this song is about graduating school and being excited to finally get out in the world, but scared of going into the world and failing or becoming a deadbeat, which I think everyone can relate to that. But also, oh nice! A song that isn't about a toxic relationship. Good. The song encapsulates the freedom that the band was hoping for, so good for them. They made it. Wait, actually, are there any original members that aren't in the band anymore? Yes. Yes, TJ Kunash, who was the original rhythm guitar, I guess for the first album, while Patrick Stump was only doing the vocals. After that point, he also started doing the rhythm guitar. And then also Ben Rose, who for their first album, I think, was doing the drums and the percussion, and then he left as well. It seems as though they've gone through quite a few drummers, actually. Like, they're on their third one right now, but he seems to be lasting. He seems to be lasting pretty well. So yeah, most of them made it then. Ew. Anyway, this song, Saturday, I am going to give also a 6 out of 10. Pretty much just as memorable as the last song, but it had slightly more variation. It still, however, suffers the same problems as every other song so far. It sounds too generic. I don't know, maybe all the cliched punk emo songs that I'm thinking of came after this album, so at the time it wasn't really that generic, which probably is the case, but nothing really grabbed my attention that much so far. So yeah, I'm giving Saturday a 6 out of 10, so we got 5, 5, 6, 6. Next up, Homesick at Space Camp. The instrumental stands out more than the previous ones, to begin with. It sounds a bit dirtier. The music then cuts out, and Patrick starts singing before the instrumental comes back in. Nice touch, nice touch. The verse sounds good. It stands out more. So far, so good. The chorus bleeds into the verse again, once again. Why it keeps doing this? Anyway, the verses have more punch than the choruses, which again, a bit unusual. Usually you want the chorus to be the like doof 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 moment. I mean, you know what I'm... Not always doof doof, but you know what I mean. That's meant to be the energetic part. The bridge pulls back, and we get some surprisingly light vocals. I like it. We also get a stadium chant during the bridge. A bunch of people are like, yeah. It sounds nice. The drums build up more to lead to the peak before we get back into the chorus, which is unfortunately the weakest part of the song. One of the recurring lyrics is "New friends are golden." It is a really nice sound overall, and we get a final beat to end this all off. Then we get some static at the end. Was this part of the song, or just part of the video that I watched? I don't really know. Anyway, this song seems to be a message straight to the listeners, all about how their music can speak to you better than they could by literally talking to you. I like how he compares his dreams to a plane on a runway, being high in the clouds, because that was the feel I got from the bridge during the end actually. Soaring up, going past the clouds, and having a few seconds of reprieve before flying right back down. It's a real, that was actually a really nice sound that they created. It was a really nice effect. Also, the lyrics "New friends are golden" is apparently a play on the Joseph Parry poem New Friends and Old Friends. Quote, "Make new friends but keep the old. Those are silver, these are gold." I mean, that's just generally a good thing to remember. After all, your old friends are still considered your friends for a reason. Anyway, this song I'm going to give, Homesick at Space Camp, I'm going to give a 7 out of 10. So far, this has been the best song in the album. Don't ask me why it's called Homesick at Camp, but this is the one that stands out the most. It varies things up, and it has the best, dare I say, most original... Actually, hold on, let me try that again. Dare I say, most original sound so far. Yeah, I like this one the most so far. Anyway, next up we have "Sending Postcards from a Plane Crash," and then in brackets, "Wish You Were Here." Again, we have the more original sounding title, and then a song that I know already exists thanks to Pink Floyd. I don't know. Anyway, we start off with another super generic opening, a super energetic opening. Like, jeez, like, honestly. This verse sounds a lot more similar to the previous songs. The chorus sounds distinct though, nice vocal variation. The post-chorus is very cynical, actually. The second verse sounds better. The chorus actually is pretty strong here, to be honest. The bridge involves Patrick belting continuously over himself. I'm making it sound bad, but it actually sounds quite nice here. The chorus starts off quieter, the final chorus starts off quieter, and then explodes full force again. Nice sound. This is the first song so far that I can say ends kind of abruptly. Not necessarily a good or bad thing, it's just an interesting note. So anyway, the song's about a guy getting dumped by his then girlfriend and is now single and lonely. He is quite depressed about the whole ordeal, but we are back into songs about relationships, it seems. Well, goodbye songs about other topics, like, what, there were like 2 of those that were about something other than relationships? See you guys, it was fun while it lasted. No, there's absolutely no way that this song will forego the relationship songs, and there is no way that the rest of this album is gonna stop doing this. Anyway, sending Postcards from a Plane Crash, wish you were here, I'm going to give a 6.5 out of 10. Another song that I quite liked. I can see myself listening to this one on its own, especially more than the first 4 songs. I placed the previous song above it though because it varied things up more, and this song loses some points just because it's yet another song about relationships. So next up, we have Chicago is So 2 Years Ago. That's just the voice that I imagine comes up whenever I read this song aloud. Anyway, the opening sounds pretty happy and fast, but again, kind of generic. I'm gonna sound like I might be sounding like a bit of a broken record here, but I actually think this stuff, like, it just sounds kind of generic. Anyway, the lyrics are really fast, and oh boy, we got more hatred going into the lyrics. Like, hold on, let me see if I can get some of the lyrics up here, just to give you an idea on what this is all sounding like as far as the hatred. Let's see. Oh yeah, it's very overt here, and every little pat on the shoulder for attention fails to mention I still hate you. Yeah, this guy's really not hiding his feelings at all, in the slightest. Anyway, Patrick's stump, I've noticed, kind of has a similar inflection to early Brendan Urie. I guess that makes sense, since I'm pretty sure Panic was inspired by Fall Out Boy. So it makes sense that Brendan kind of like mimicked some of his idols before he kind of developed his own sound. Anyway, the bridge then goes a cappella before the bass comes in with some good feedback. It was an interesting choice there. I liked it. The outro then brings the instrumental back full force. That a cappella segment actually lasted longer than I thought it would. The final note to end off, and the feedback goes into some really weird trance music. Is this leading into the next song? By the way, yes it is. So what's this song about? Oh boy, this boy is too trusting and trusted the wrong person because they lied to him too much. He's been trying to avoid her, but her pursuit for attention overpowers his desire to avoid her. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we've got yet another bloody song about Bad relationships. Whoopee. Congratulations, son. You win a medal. Now go with the other winners so you can get your picture taken. Chicago is so 2 years ago. I'm going to give a 5.5 out of 10. The song's instrumental really reminded me of the second song, but faster. It's basically got all the same problems as it, but I will give it an extra half point because it does vary itself up slightly more, particularly towards the end. And before some people might say like, oh, you know, you seem to care about a song changing itself up all the time, let it be known that if you have a song that kind of stays like the same level the whole time, you're gonna get bored of it very quickly. The same deal as like a speech, for example. If you were listening to a speech, if it's just the same general vibe, the same general emotion, the same, like the whole time, you're just gonna get bored of it rather quickly. So this is why I'm placing like such a heavy importance on variation, because that keeps your audience engaged, and it clearly wasn't keeping me engaged unless I'm just so attention deficient that, like, growing up on Vines and all of that, that if I don't get a funny haha punchline within 5 seconds, I'm just going to think it's bad. I don't think I'm like that. I've listened to songs way longer than this that have been able to keep my attention, which I'll get into at a later point. Don't you worry, that is definitely the intention here. Next up, we have... Actually, hold on. Uno momento, por favor. Where are we going with this? We got 13 songs. Right now, we've gotten up to song number 8. Okay. Well, you know what? I feel like this is probably a good point to end it off. Jeez, good thing I caught myself before I went back into it. Anyway, I'm gonna... Actually, hold on. How much time have I taken? 8 minutes. Yeah, okay. That seems fair enough to end it here. So, in that case, I'm gonna see you guys next week in the second half of Take This to Your Grave. I'm sorry if you really like this album and I've been giving it too hard of a time, but who knows? Maybe it gets better later on. Who's to say? Who's to say? Anyway, I will see you guys back for the second half of the album, and until then, have a good one.